Welcome to the panel discussion on virtual simulation, a new paradigm for nursing education. I am Professor Jyoti, Principal College of Nursing GMC at Chandigarh, and I would like to introduce our panelist for today, Mr. Abhinav Giridhar, who is founder for the Bodhi Health Education, and he has founded Bodhi Health Education in 2015 to develop technology-based education, training, and assessment solutions for medical and nursing students and in-service workforce. With us, another panelist is Dr. Smriti Arora, who is professor at MIT College of Nursing, and she has multiple years of experience and has a good expertise in nursing research. She has published more than 40 papers in different national and international journals. I welcome you, Dr. Giridhar and Dr. Smriti Arora. Moving further to our third panelist is Dr. Manju Dandapani, who is a known personality in nursing field. She is working as a secretary in International Nurses of Neurosciences, and she also has a good expertise in nursing research. And she has been awarded as a best neuroscience nurse recently in PGIMER. And also she has bagged best paper for research in nursing recently. I welcome you, Dr. Manju, and I welcome all the participants today for joining us.
So when we are giving these case-based scenarios to students, the problem is that we don't have any ready-made Indian material or scenarios. So we are consuming a lot of time in doing this exercise. So had there been some earlier prepared material with us, then it would have become a very easy task for us. Now, for example, we are teaching medical surgical nursing to our students and we want to explain them about pneumonia. So this is how we prepare a case for students. Like Mr. Anil, he's a 68-year-old man. He's a retired clerk who has been treated for mild hypertension, bronchitis, appendicitis, hemorrhoids, and a fractured femur and splenic injury in a motorcycle accident. So he comes to emergency department with chief complaints of cough and fever for days. And he reveals that he is having chest pain, which is intensifying with inspiration. He's coughing continuously. He's having productive sputum, which is thick and yellow. And how is he appearing? That he is tired, faded, and underweight. And then we ask the students that what more information would you like to take from the patient in order to have a professional diagnosis. So once he responds to this, then we give him another scenario that now you make Mr. Anil comfortable, you lie him on bed, you have asked his about the basic past history, smoking history, how much he smokes, and now these are the vital signs. And now when you do the physical examination, these are the findings which you have seen. And then you again ask the questions like, what do you suspect Mr. Anil to be suffering from? What investigations would you like the doctor to order at this point? So in the incremental order, we are presenting the child with more and more difficult scenarios, and then we are asking him to respond. And based on their responses, we are evaluating them for their internal assessment. So this is again the same thing. No, we keep on elaborating upon the condition of the patient, and then we ask the child that what advice now you would like to give to Mr. Anil at the time of discharge. So with the help of these case-based scenarios, we can develop different types of skills in the children, like their listening skills, communication skills, their level of patience, their knowledge, their time management ability, their advocacy for the patient, the critical thinking, the decision-making skills, and the leadership skills. Now, the another thing apart from case-based scenarios is checklists. So we have the ready-made checklist with us for different procedures based on the specialities. And then we tell the child to prepare a checklist for a particular procedure. And when he writes all the steps of that procedure, then we compare that with the standard checklist and see that it's okay or not. And according to that, we will give him the score. So he has to write what is the objective of this procedure, what are the purposes, what are the equipments required, and then what are the steps of procedure. And comparing with the standard checklist, we are going to evaluate the student. Now the challenges what we face while delivering this online system of education is that limited senses are involved. You know, when we are teaching the students, they are reading from the screen, they are listening to us, and they are creating images in their minds. So real-time human interaction is not there. This is a good way of teaching, but in comparison to what the experiences they will get when they are directly in touch with the patients is different. So had there been some small videos or movie clips in which the more senses will be involved, it would have become more interesting to the students, and the retention of the knowledge or skills, it will be for the much longer period of time. Now another challenges which we face is that when we are teaching to the students, whole day we are sitting in front of our laptop, and the students also. Just one class, then another class, then another class. The students are sitting. Maybe we'll take 1 hour class and go. But for students, it's a little tiring. So it can cause different physical problems also to students, like backache, eye strain, neck pain. So we have to inculcate some good habits also in them, that beta in between you get up, you roam around, you just move around your arms and shoulders and legs, do some little exercises. And another challenge is that when we are teaching our students, now we all are 40 plus, right? So our students are more advanced than us in using this digital media. So they are very much smart. And sometimes they mute us, they remove us, they don't answer, and they put their cameras off. See, we don't know that actually the student is present there or not present. So technically, we have to be very smart as compared to them, so that we can monitor all these activities and make sure that whatever we want to teach them, they are actually gaining that or not. So the transfer of knowledge is actually happening in an efficient manner. So that way we have to be upgraded ourselves, and we have to be more smarter than our students. Another challenges which we face is that delivering this method of education or clinical experience to children, we need to have uninterrupted internet supply. So in between, when the net goes, then we'll not be able to do the assessment. In between becomes incomplete. Sometimes the students are in the remote areas like in Kashmir or Nepal, and recently there was a cyclone in West Bengal, so we were not able to connect with the students during that time. So whatever softwares we are having, the laptops we are having, they need to be compatible. And sometimes the student tell us that my now data is finished, now I cannot talk. So it is a costly affair also, so it involves money. And then when we interact with our other faculty members, we need to motivate them also that okay, you have to use it now, this is the need of the hour. Embracing change is always difficult, but according to the situations we need to bend. So we need to have a lot of technical skills so that the appropriate amount of experience is given to the student. But in the background, we also have to think that are we actually giving the correct amount of knowledge, skill, and attitudes to the students through this online media. So always the debate is going on in our mind, that although this experience is not the same as what he will get in the hospital, so we have to build those case-based scenarios in a very smart and efficient manner, that the child grasps the concept very nicely, and then he will be able to deliver the quality care. Then another challenges are that in a background in our mind, it's always going that someone will hack into my laptop. It can lead to some cyber crimes, so there is a threat to security also. Now, apart from these Microsoft Teams, we are using other platforms also to teach our students, like we have WhatsApp meetings, Zoom meetings through Cisco WebEx platforms. Lot amount of webinars are being arranged, FTPs are being arranged for our faculty members also. Then from on the YouTube, lot of channels are available where a lot of demonstrations are there related to nursing also, their skills also. So we send those links to the children. Now, since my specialty is related to pediatrics, so we have a lot of videos available related to neonatal reflexes or laugh scoring. Then, so these links we share with them, and then we tell them to read it and then respond it and discuss with us that what problem they are facing. Now, similarly, a lot of books are available in which a lot of embedded videos are there with QR code. So they just have to scan the QR code, and then they can see all the demonstrations in their phone, that actually how tracheostomy is to be done, how suctioning is to be done. Then a lot of other websites are also available, like Newborn WHOCC, on which various webinars are there, or Kangaroo Mother Care, Neonatal Resuscitation. Then different apps are also available, on the Play Store, if you see, and through which we can teach them lot of essential newborn care and lot of sick newborn care. The protocols are there. They just have to click on the buttons, and then Eventually, they will be given some scenario and then they have to respond, and then you will be given feedback that whether it's correct or not correct. Then for gynae and obs, there is one safe delivery app in which you can learn the different stages of management of labor. So although a lot of challenges are there, but we need to accept the change. Now, this lockdown has presented us with a very unique condition that we have to do this online system of education. Now, this is going to be the future of education, I think. So the teachers, they need to be very skilled and they need to be very smart when we are delivering such type of education. So it is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent one that survives, but it is the one that is the most adaptable to change will survive. So we need to adapt to these newer changes, and we have to give appropriate amount of education to children. So though it is not same as what they will get in the hospital, the same experience, but still we have to try it from our side the maximum level. It has to be prepared very nicely, very efficiently, so that they can understand things in a better manner. And once we more progress from these case-based scenarios, then coming to the virtual simulation, this is a more, I think it will be a more sophisticated and easy thing if this could happen in India, because internationally it is already happening. But in India, to make it happen, it will take some more time and some more hard work from our upcoming nursing professionals. And it will be a lot of beneficial to our students. Thank you.
Learning styles, like some learn by reading, some learn by listening, some by doing, and always we know that we learn best by doing. And when we learn about the process of learning, it starts from attention. So retention, we attend, we see something and obtain something, listen something and obtain. Then we have to retain it, we have to reproduce it, then our behavior comes. You must be really thinking why I'm talking about all these theories. But whatever mode of teaching we are using, whether it is in online or in a COVID situation or in any other situation, we have to give importance to all these three aspects: domains, levels, and the entire process of learning and styles and entire sequence of the learning. So all these things have to be enhanced using whatever model we are. So simulation is the best way. So simulation is nothing but where we are providing the learner with opportunities to practice their competency, critical thinking, clinical decision in various real life situations. They are not actually real life. So we want our students to be skilled enough before they go to the real life. Because in real life, they are the humans. Our nurses are going to give care, provide care to the human beings. So we have to play with human beings. So they cannot be made scapegoats or victims. So we need to teach them almost real, approximately 60 traits. The more we are able to train them, the more we are succeeding in obtaining their learning outcome. So the simulation has to enhance the learning domains, styles, each step of the learning process, like attention, retention, and introduction, and the evaluation process. We know that if we are not evaluating the students, there is no use of teaching. So the same way we are teaching, we have to evaluate. So simulation, like we can use virtually. That is what is the current scenario where we have landed due to COVID. Okay. So virtual simulation means like it is the use of computers in recreating a scenario. Real life situation we have to simulate or recreate, or we have to pretend. Like we know that as Sundari was telling about, we are also not able to send our students. So everyone must be facing that problem in the clinical. There are no patients as well as we don't have students with us. They all are at their home. So we have to use virtual simulation. So before coming to the online simulation, we just see what are the types of simulation which are available. So we know that there are live simulation or real simulation, which are like, we all know that live simulation is nothing but we are making a person to act like a patient after giving a lot of instruction. So if you remember, like when we were learning our nursing procedures, I must have acted as a real simulator many times for hair washing procedures, if you remember. Yes. I was thinking, if you had the knowledge of simulation, definitely I would have now given you various scenarios. Yeah, water is very cold, hot, what is this, something like that. But we did not have that. It's just like a dummy, and like student is practical. That's actually live simulator. Or like, in ATLS, Advanced Trauma Life Support, we are using a lot of mollages, drainage, so many like, various fracture and all. We are simulating and we are using that. They all are real or live. For that, the student has to be near to the simulator. Not possible now. Then we have non-alive or model. We know about the static models we have, where we may be able to do something. No, like we can just do certain procedures, punch bath and others sometime. And functional simulators, where some kind of functions, manipulations can be done. And we have then, so these are the basic. So I think if you remember, we had only these kind of simulations during our training. But now the scenario has changed. We have started incorporating computer into simulation. So this is a low fidelity simulator or mannequin where computer aid is used just for producing, giving you a feedback whether you are providing a proper way of CPR, whether in terms of depth of compression, etc. They are low fidelity mannequin, and these are high fidelity mannequin. You can see here the mannequin is here, and from a console or a control panel, the personnel are giving instructions, and based on this instruction, which are the inputs in the computer, the mannequin will behave. Whether it is pupils, heart rate, BP, crying, laughing, answering. So whatever they do from there, it will be depicted or which will be demonstrated by this mannequin. So they are high fidelity mannequin, which will help the students to enhance or the learner to enhance their skills. And these are other high fidelity virtual panels where we can see the 3D images of various anatomical structures. Like you can see here, you can see thoracic cavity, what are the organs, dimensions of the organs, abdominal cavity, brain. Like, and these are the virtual panels where we can even see various dimensions. Like we can practice surgeries. We know that if you do a kind of like if you give RNs to 250 ml, what will happen to the stomach? Will be showing you. So it will give you immediate feedback. So this is like they are very highly expensive. And we also had seen similar panel of stroke simulation where if you see the thrombolytic therapy, they'll see the vessels softening and the brain is getting reperfused. So these are virtual panels. And other than this, we have case scenarios. Case scenarios was simply we can in classroom we can read or write and show, which are not computer aided. But now at this point, we have to use computer aided case scenarios, computer assisted programs, linear or branching programs can be used as learning programs. Here, like in our setting, like just now we are planning for the model practical exams. I was thinking the lockdown is continuing with the students and not with us. We create some videos or some kind of including some pictures. We will create some scenario and then we'll show to the students. Now Smriti was showing kind of case scenario in a written form, which we shown to the students through Zoom or WebEx or something like that. So I was in the process of just developing some simple videos, okay, which cannot be, which definitely cannot recreate exactly like a real situation. And we could take a feedback from the students. Luckily, by I think lockdown is almost relaxed, our students are back, and we would be able to be able to conduct the practical exam in real situation. So, so this can also be used to develop, like give feedback to the students. So, like as I was telling, so the simulation can
Uh,
be used in
Manju, I would like to interrupt. Your voice is echoing. If you could come a bit nearer to your mic. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So, the simulation can be used for teaching, learning, as well as for evaluation. So now I think every university would be having their exam season going on, model exam and the final exam. So we can use. So now many universities don't have their students with it. So we have to go ahead with like online simulation. Like even like Eco and there are various like companies, they give online case scenarios or online computer assisted programmed learning no, like are given. So where a case scenario is given in a video, and in between there are feedback or the questions in between. So the students will answer that. Maybe I can demonstrate one which I have, which I Jyoti is using also there. So based on that, the student will answer, the case scenario will continue, and again there will be questions in between. So like that, we can use various games. So so online is now when students are not with us, what we can use is online. So and again, the effectiveness of virtual simulation will be depending on what input we give and what output we get from the simulator. Input can be in the form of joystick, mouse, keypad, or touch screen, or our motion, voice. It can recognize our motion, it can recognize our eye tracking, eye movements, it can recognize our voice. This all can act as inputs. And outputs, it can be in the form of vision, auditory, tactile. Now we can see, we can hear, we can touch and feel, we can feel the vibrations, we can smell certain things, we can feel the motion. So these are. So the effectiveness of a simulator. Definitely we know that our nursing professionals or medical professionals cannot develop a simulator just ourselves. We need help from the IT people so that we can develop a lot of simulators. So while creating this kind of simulation, we can contribute by giving a lot of, you are actually rightly pointing out that like sometime when we are creating simulation, if I make a video, it's purely based on just my experience or one or two scenarios I can give. But if you are making a computer aided one, that can accommodate my experience, I can ask you to contribute your experience. So depending on the input we give, so different types of simulations can be created from the same simulator. So that is the advantage. And the other advantages of the virtual simulation, like I hope you must have understood what are the virtual simulation and what are the various types and how can we use it. And even during this lockdown period, how can we use it? And the various advantages if we talk about the virtual simulation, we can we know that when the students are practicing high risk procedures or very rare procedures, we cannot teach the students on the real situation or on the live simulation. Okay? We can use virtual simulation. They can practice as many number of times they can practice. Yeah, or just like that. We can, multiple students can practice multiple times. It's not possible out of a patient or a real simulator. They'll get exhausted or psychologically and various other issues. But a computer aided simulator, virtual simulator won't have that problem. So we can practice. So it is a very good way of bridging before we send this. And
Yes.
very good way of utilizing it during this kind of lockdown period. Anyway, however, like it cannot recreate the real situation. That we have to understand. So that is one of the disadvantage, and they are very expensive and maintenance, manpower in maintaining and repairing these all are important issues which have to be addressed. So the best way of doing would be providing our experience for the next generation, because we know that our next generation is always better tech savvy than us. So they can create better simulators. As the generations are passing on, they can create better and better simulation, various types of simulations. But we can always support them with our experience and our learning and how we evaluate the students. And you, should I show that video, Jyoti?
Yes, I was about to say that about this virtual simulation, people are not much aware about it, and as in we had some opportunity to get hands-on about that, but as it
Yeah.
gives the realism more into it, so if you could show us what common platforms or what you have seen, how does it work?
I can show you just a video
Because recently
simulation
when
program.
I was browsing, I could browse through one of the college of nursing from Canada. They have developed different game based scenarios. They will give you prompt you with three situations, like when I go to the patient, now they will give me a prompt that whether you would like to wash hands, you would like to introduce yourself, or you would greet the patient. So whatever situation or whatever option I choose, accordingly the scenario will move.
Yeah, it's like branching, branch programmed learning. So
Yes.
I think this is one of the scenario. Can you see the screen?
No, I cannot.
I think you cannot. I think I have to stop this.
Dr. Manju, by the time you are trying on it, I would like to ask you how
Yeah.
much, because we are very much into it that it is really good, but how far is it successful for the student satisfaction? what is about the learning outcome, whether they are able to meet the learning outcomes or no?
Yeah, this is a very right question. So, if we talk about the current scenario, they are only be able to use online virtual simulation. So, which they have to do access from their laptop or PC. So, with that, definitely the learning outcome would be affected because they are just communicating whatever is already, like there is, we are not there as a facilitator sometimes. So, we can be as a facilitator, once they see the video, we can then guide them. So, the learning outcome will be definitely affected in an online programming. But it will all again depend how best we are able to create this scenario, how best we are able to create this simulation. So it will the learning outcome will depend on that. And if it is not an online situation, otherwise we are this virtual mannequins are there, which will improve the hands dexterity also. Like in mannequin, I was showing you like we can the students can practice the procedure, but in online they cannot practice. It only can enhance the critical thinking, clinical decision making, judgment, problem solving, depending on the type of scenario they. But if it is a high fidelity mannequin where they can practice a lot of procedures, for example, when we are giving an IM injection, the patient cries. If we are not giving CPR effectively, the ventricular fibrillation continues. It is not improving. It is not becoming sinus rhythm. So the student is getting immediate feedback. So for learning various procedures, high fidelity mannequins are good. And for seeing you and enhancing the critical thinking and decision making, the online can also assist the student in that.
So what I have concluded from your discussion is that this can be a first step for sending them to the clinical area, because we are making them talk about communication, taking different clinical judgments, making the decision making, and actual the
Yes,
skill of performing the procedure, the steps they can, reinforce the steps. However, the skill of performing will definitely remain with the patient. So what I can
yes,
say that it can be a first step to make them, as you said, bridging between the clinicals
yes,
once they come in
yes.
exposure with the patient.
Because definitely we cannot recreate the real scenario.
Yes.
That's what. So the more and more input we give, the more and more benefit and skill or competency the student go to the clinical.
Yeah, I would like to add that Elsevier has come up with that 3D projection of all the basic anatomy of the whole body, and high
Okay,
fidelity
yeah, yeah.
mannequin is really clicking to me that it would be really good, because teacher can manipulate the scenario according to the student how they are performing.
Yes, there are various. When Lipin coat,
I think Dr. Manju's that
like question.
your voice was not audible. If you could repeat what you were saying.
Yeah, even I think Lipin coat is having
Yes.
their own virtual simulation, various modules. So I think, but we have to pay for it.
But as far as till now we have discussed, everything is not made in India, as we are more into
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I was thinking. Our youngsters who are attending this, they should be taking more initiative. I think they are like more tech savvy than anyone can take initiative, but I think we should be contributing.
yes,
And
yes.
even scenarios and all will be better if we create in our own way, right?
So would you like to add anything else about strengths and weaknesses of this virtual simulation? I think you have already mentioned about these.
Yeah, some of them I have already. If we talk about weaknesses, as I told, real cannot be, we cannot recreate real. That's first thing. And if they are very costly and expensive, the procurement is very difficult. All of you must be like, you all are part of administration, so you know how difficult it is to procure a mannequin or a panel. So it takes years together while we apply for it, then again, the entire process takes 1 to 2 years. And then maintenance is other thing. They have specific instructions to maintain the mannequins or the fidelity seals and panels. So we have to follow and we have to service it, as well as we have to have manpower to maintain it. That is very, very important. If we are not taking care of them, they will not give us the output.
Yes.
Whatever we spend won't be won't come back to us. So like if you are like how much features we are incorporating into it. If you are not maintaining it, will not give us. Many times I feel that even though we have those kind of simulators, if you don't have manpower, dedicated time to use that, dedicated lab time to use that, we do not use. We are continuously having morning clinical, afternoon periods. Don't plan dedicated lab hours for that. Practicing having virtual simulation, we won't use those man. They'll just lie. So in Rishikesh, when I went, I remember that they had dedicated nursing faculty who is taking care of, along with the lab people or the this kind of people, IT people, taking care of these mannequins, and they were in charge of that lab. So whenever the students are coming, they were guiding this. So that was very, very good. But many times, I think everywhere, I think. What about you, Jyoti? Like, do you also face this lack of manpower in maintaining this better time?
Yes, we have lack of manpower, but the procurement process really takes time, and we are
Yes,
struggling
yes.
with it. And we have the innovative ideas, but when it comes to real implementation, it takes time definitely. And
And yes, and there's another advantage. Multiple times student can practice. Like many skills they have to perform in the clinical on the patients, right? So that hand dexterity, that automation, they can fully acquire in the lab. Like many times, a suction procedure or injection procedure, when they do on these patients, they shiver a lot. That half of the shivering can be reduced if they multiple times practice on this virtual simulation. However, real life will be real. Real patient will be real. I'm not telling that we can take care of that, but then definitely that can. And this scenarios which you are telling, they can really dramatically improve the critical thinking skill and decision.
yes, thank you, Dr. Manju, for sharing the knowledge and different uh, expertise about the virtual simulation. And as we have a few queries in between, I would deal with that. As we were talking that we are more into Swanirbar Bharat, and definitely we have the virtual simulation platforms available in India also. And one of the participant asked whether we have to spend lots of money. It depends on how much, what type of software you are purchasing. If in case you are purchasing lateral virtual simulation program, uh, for medical surgical nursing only, they charge around 7,500, and they provide you 10 scenarios which you can use for multiple times for teaching the students, for practicing. So it is, I think, a wrong notion that you have to spend multiple crores of rupees for hiring it. But as Dr. Manju said, maintenance is one of the big issue that you have to take care of. And as I was mentioning, that we have virtual simulation platforms in India, and one of the expert is with us on board, that is Dr. Abhinav Vidas. And Mr. Abhinav, as I said, and you are an entrepreneur, I would like to add into your cap the feather of they have created a game for nurses where they are providing different simulation scenarios, and nurse has to act accordingly. For example, a postpartum mother comes, so what you should do first. So accordingly, whatever she decides, uh, based on that, the further scene would move on. So, Mr. Abhinav, I would like you to talk about what other platforms are available in India that can help us in conducting virtual simulation.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. I think there are some really good points which have come out from Dr. Arora and Dr. Manju. Dr. Jyoti, thank you for having me on this panel. So first of all, responding to your question, there are excellent platforms actually. There are as the panel members have mentioned, Lippincott platform is there, Elsevier platform is there. These are excellent platforms. And very frankly, in terms of affordability, also some of these platforms have, especially on the virtual simulation side, there are these platforms might be affordable as well. Now, the question what it comes really is, I think two questions which I think the distinguished panel members have also brought to the attention of everybody participating. So one, the first thing is that these solutions are not in the Indian context sometimes. I mean, though there is nursing field, it is common, but the knowledge, the knowledge, the concepts are common. But the problem is that it is very. I mean, we are talking. If we are talking to somebody, to a nurse who is 5 years experienced, has 5 years clinical experience, that person might be able to relate to what is being done, and that person also might be able matured enough to look at the differences, and be able to say that, okay, we have seen in the practical this being done in this manner, this simulation is giving us the guideline, and it is being done is this in this manner. So there is no confusion. But here we are talking about students, we are talking about graduation or diploma students who are whom we are trying to teach. They are trying to they are very I mean, for the faculty members, it is very difficult to even explain some basic concepts to some of these students at times. So if we bring such a solution to them, and they are not able to relate to whatever clinically they see in their hospital visits or in their various clinicals, then it becomes a very difficult job for the faculty member, for the educator. And that is why and that though there are solutions, it doesn't become very popular. So very importantly, we need solutions which are very suitable for our kind of healthcare provider settings. um, I mean, I'll go in more into detail. What we do, we make video based, skill based modules on various topics, right? So I'm talking about our experience. There are things which are not available even in the or articles which are not available in our large corporate hospitals, right? So that kind of situation creates a lot of issues for the training and education. So that is my point, that whatever solutions we develop, those have to be very, very contextual. And that is what we try to do. It is some bit of reinventing the wheel, but it is important that we reinvent the wheel in a manner so that it is suitable. Like you know, and the second very important thing is for colleges. When it comes to mannequins, as Madam was just pointing out, it is such a difficult task to go through the entire process of procurement. And these high fidelity mannequins are really, really expensive. Number one, there is a lot of capital in expenditure cost, and then there is a lot of cost which is which one has to incur for the maintenance of this. So in our settings, I mean, the top 5-10 colleges across the country might be able to afford them. I was speaking to dean of one of the ex-dean rather of one of the very reputed medical education institution, and they said the same thing, that they started some things maybe 15 years back, 10, 20 years back, but till now it hasn't really been adopted by many more institutions. So those are very practical issues which come when it comes to mannequins and some of these virtual real simulation tools. The second thing is, I'm totally discounting this pandemic period, because here faculty is really trying to go beyond their limits, trying to bring use things like Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, or all these tools. And there are various challenges on the infrastructure connectivity side. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking, in the normal situation also, it is very difficult for all the data connectivity, bandwidth, etc. available. So these are very practical challenges which are there. When it comes to bringing technology, so whatever we do, it has to follow the educators. Technology has to really follow the educator, not reverse way. Sometimes what happens is that we start building technology and we think that the educators can follow. It will not happen like that. What will happen is that we make things which the educators can really use in the classroom. We make things which they can use for the students, right? So if you allow, I can just quickly share my screen to show you the video of our game based application, which is more on case based scenarios. I'll just try that. If Jyoti, can we do that?
Yes, we can. You can share your content directly. I was about to ask you that
Yeah, yeah.
show us a demo.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll just show you the demo. I'll show you two demos, one of our game-based solution first, and then I will also briefly show the platform, and just maybe we can spend some time there. Just give me 1 second.
एक नंबर दबा दो रह रहे हैं बैठ के
Please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Not yet. It says it is starting to share the content. Yes, it has started.
Okay, I'm showing the video based screen. Um, Let me just play the video.
Mr. Abhinav, I think if you remove your headphones, we will be able to hear the sound of the video.
1 second.
It's
1 second. I will again. Yeah. Uh,
voice is not audible.
let let me do one thing. Let me. Uh, I think there is the audio is not going through. I can share the YouTube link also in the chat. So for the people who would like to hear the audio, but just to give you a sense, this is a game which has 30 plus case scenarios on managing complications during childbirth, and it carries through the complete process in which the staff nurse has to manage the entire case. So, and it is completely based on the conditions at our primary health center. So it is completely developed for our kind of settings. I will share the link here in the chat box for everyone to have a look at their own convenience.
Yeah, this is wonderful. We will be able to see whenever on their convenience
Yeah.
we can watch.
Yes, yes, yes. Please, you can have a look at this later. Um, Also, just to also show you how we think that some of these. So let I'm also again going to just give a glimpse of how our platform is and how that looks like. Let Please let me know when you are able to see my screen. Is my screen visible to everybody now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so just I'll just go through. So the platform the way we have developed is again, as what the panel members also mentioned, that there is a complete lack of Indian modules, Indian or the videos in which we can resonate. Yes, there is a lot of content available on YouTube, but we don't know whether it is technically correct or whether it has been made with all the details incorporated. So what we have done is we have made skill-based demonstrative modules. These are on various topics. So if you look at it, they right from airway management, documentation, safe surgery, perioperative nursing, biomedical waste management. Like that, we have now on our repository, we have 30 plus modules. Each module has the entire content is video based content. Let me just go into one of these modules. So when you go into is my change screen now visible to everybody, where
Yes.
where you can see? Yes. So if you look at each of these modules, like for example, if I were to just show you care of patient with pressure injury and bed sores, so these each of these modules there are multiple videos, right, which will go through the entire. So assessments, like also again, this is something which was also pointed out earlier. Assessments are a critical component of the platform, and we take a lot of care in doing pre-training assessment, because we want to understand what the level of learning is without maybe there have been some prior exposure to the topic through clinicals or through classroom based teaching or any other means, right? So we do a kind of a pre-quiz, and then we break that complete topic, which is, let's say, introduction to pressure injury, into various small videos. And these are videos which will not be more than 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes maximum, which will be like in this, like introduction to pressure injury, on managing of pressure injury, wound care. Like in one particular module there could be 3 videos, and in another module there could be, let's say, 7 or 7 to 10 videos. But essential thing is that all these videos are broken down into smaller topics. So like for example, I will just play a module also for your this unfortunately, I think we cannot share the audio so easily on this platform. But let me just show you the module which I think will be very useful. So yeah, so this is the if you are able to see my screen, I'm showing you our module on CPR for adults. Now again, as I was mentioning to you, initially there is a pre-quiz, then there are various modules, various videos like on airway management, chest compression, uh, uh, pocket mask, and then other concepts. So let us just see if we can, if I am able to show you, one of these videos. Um, if the audio is not, if you cannot hear, it's okay, but at least it will give you an idea of the kind of content which is available on the platform. Is the video screen visible to?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is Medha, our ex-AIM student.
Yes,
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Sir has
yes, exactly. Yes,
many of the
yes.
nursing experts with him. Even Shobha, you must be aware about Shobha. She is also one of the experts in ST.
Yeah. So just to give, yes. Uh, let just we'll just spend a few seconds just going through the demonstration so that you can relate. So I'm pausing. My idea was to just show you, what kind of things are more easier and more possible, and also, we can develop some of these things properly in our context. So this is a module in which we have used very simple low fidelity mannequins. There are modules in which there are those have been developed with patient consent, and we have tried to kind of show it more elaborately some of these skill based modules. And these are more, we feel, I mean, we also would like to get more views and more feedback from the faculty, which we are doing constantly. We feel these are very important when we are trying to kind of help in skill, in making the students appreciate certain skills. And as ma'am also just mentioned, that these are not intended to replace the actual doing, but before the clinicals or after the clinicals, if the students have to reflect, then there is no particular means to do them, and that is where a tool like this, we believe, becomes very handy and very useful. This everything which I'm showing you is available through a mobile app, and assessments are, as I said, very important. So even in the mobile app there will be assessment, and in these videos there will be questions which will be coming in between. So the student has to be really attentive to see some of these videos and to absorb the concepts and really understand them. So that's how we are trying to kind of see for our context and the limitations which we have, what is the best possible thing. So I think I'll stop here. Maybe there are questions. I can share more details later.
No, I think what they have, the question is that they would like to get into really explore the app or the website that you are showing. For them, I have the reply that once you explore this Modi Education website, you will be able to see different scenarios and different procedures conducted in the real setup, and they are more Indian based. Um, since quite some time I've been exploring these areas because and what I have found is everything, whenever I am talking about Lippincott, Lidral, or any other app, they are more of focused on students' communication skills, cultural aspects of the patients, and also about the clinical decision making. But when I have compared both the education platform, they have more of skill education. This is my personal opinion, as Mr. Abhinav has already given you the link. You can further compare about what we have discussed just now. Mr. Abhinav, I have one more small question, if you could elaborate on it. As you have said that this is a new modality that we have introduced in nursing education. So, do you think this will be a scope for future nursing experts? Like now we have a nurse as a researcher, we have nurses as a practitioner. So, will there be any scope for the nursing personnel to come as a virtual simulation expert?
Dr. Jyoti, I seriously, think that this should really happen, and this will amplify the efforts of faculty. Uh, if I mean, I'm just saying, many fold, because if we are able to have people who really become, who are able to develop products on virtual simulation, and we need the domain people, and we need people who understand the Indian context very clearly. So if we are able to develop products with them, and this role gets recognition by the council and other stakeholders as well, I think this will create a lot of positive impact on the entire. Not only this role will get created, but it will create a very positive impact on education and nursing training itself.
So I think this will create a new dimension for the scope of nursing personnel, not only working in clinicals or in teaching area only. They would also come into this virtual simulation as an expert. One more query that
Definitely.
participants are asking is if you could share that how they can access the website and get into to explore about Bodhi education.
Sure. So definitely. So what the participants, or even I believe here on this call we have many faculty members and other participants also. So I can just share my email ID on the chat box here. Through the college, if they can write us to, so during this specifically for the COVID period, we are making the platform accessible to institutions and the students in their institutions. So if they can just drop in an email, we can set this entire system up for their whole students and their all batches. We have done for a large number of institutions, especially in the north, in south, in Tamil Nadu with the nursing council. We are doing in the northeast, in Assam, and many other states also. So just please get. We'll be more than happy. I'm just typing my email ID on this chat directly. As such, it will be not possible to log in directly. So just write to us and we'll enable it.
But I think for understanding, they can go through that trial demo parties videos what you have shared, just to get a
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abhinav, for your valuable input. Uh, and if the participant have some query, we will be dealing with that. Before we get into further, I would like to show a small content to all of you. I think many of you are looking forward to it. How does it really actually look like? Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, you can see here, this is from the, as I was mentioning, from the Canada, the Centennial College of Nursing. They have developed this, and it is about the different scenarios. When I go into a new game, it would give me a scenario like Sasha Kovalik, and I will go for a continue phase. On my side, internet is really troubling me today, and this is the reason we could not go for live streaming.
These are the challenges of the online system.
Yeah, you can hear what she's saying.
Child. The nurse is just sending them into room 110. She should be out to give you a report in a couple of minutes. Okay, the room's set up. I'm just gonna print off my worksheets and I'll go down. Okay. Sasha Kovalich from recovery room. I put him in room 110. Who do I give report on? Dave, do you take report on your patient in room 110? Yeah, sure. I could take report.
Hello, Sasha, Ms. Kovalik. My name is Gabe. I'm going to be your nurse today. I've just come in to assess Sasha after his surgery.
I don't think Sasha is doing so well. He's very sleepy. And I'm not sure if he's in pain after this operation.
So now this is where the as a student nurse or the person who's learning will have to select the situation, assess without mom present, reassure mom, or acknowledge the concern. So if in all these three options, whatever I choose, accordingly the scene could change. Let's say I am choosing the acknowledge the concern.
I can see that you're really worried, Mrs. Kovalik, so I'm going to do an assessment of Sasha to see how he's doing so that I can better plan his care. Sasha, what
Platforms available, all of you can explore through it, and other platforms link also we would be sharing via email. And I think we have explored in our session that what is the difficulties that we are facing because of COVID-19, especially in the nursing education. Not only the nursing education, all other areas also we are facing. But the challenge of imparting appropriate clinical teaching is still remains with us. But with virtual simulation, to some extent, it is quite possible that you can keep your students engaged and keep them learning. And Mr. Girdhar and Dr. Spriti and Dr. Manju has very beautifully and shown us the how virtual simulation can be part of nursing education. And here we come to the end. And lastly, I would like to thank all the participants here and my panel experts, Dr. Smriti, Dr. Manju, and Mr. Giridhar, for joining us today and sparing time for us. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti madam. And I just would like to say that since long time nurses, it's not that we are not making videos, that the Indian thing is not there. A lot of our MSc students, they have been making videos, but they are not disseminating what they are doing. Like Dr. Manju also said in the beginning, no, that we have to encourage our MSc students, our young nurses, the PhD scholars to take up these type of subjects where they prepare their own material. So now we have to move a little more further and we have to go into this virtual simulation thing. So earlier also they were making videos, but their work is not, it was not getting important. Now since because of this lockdown and this online system of education, now the people are getting to know more about it. So that's all from my side, that as faculty we have to encourage the more young nurses to take up this issue.
You're very right, actually. Many students are making many videos. They are not disseminating. Like if they all are in Indian context and around setup, so it will be very really useful for the students and all learners. And it is not only for the students; it can be used by the novice nurses and anyone who is getting into a new area of posting. They can use this kind of. Many MSc students are also telling me they are making.
But I would like to add one small point that when they are creating a video, first of all, they have to have some clinical expertise on it. Because unless and until I have worked with my patients, I will not be knowing where they have the chances to make the mistakes. So that small things they really need to know about it.
Clinical expertise and they have to have collaboration with the IPM.
Yes,
So that
without
they come beautifully out with a good video. So those clinical scenarios, it's very, very important that we rightly make. That clinical expertise and our intuitions are very, very necessary so that they are made up, so that students learn properly.
Thank you,
I
Dr.
think we have to
Manju.
make the start here somewhere, and if
Yes,
we can bring all this on the platform, then we it all this can be curated also. There might be some mistakes which can be, in fact it can be used in other ways also. Okay, identify what are the gaps or something like that. So this content is very important actually.
yes. And Mr. Abhinav, people like you we really need in our nursing education. Then only we'll be able to fill up this gap of having expertise from the, because what we are having the software as from New Zealand or Australia, but in Indian context we have nothing apart from you. So we really need people like you.
hey,
And many
Professor
more,
Jyoti, I
Dr.
think,
Jyoti. Thank
yeah.
you.
We have one, I think, faculty from Gulf. You're in Kuwait, right, Akama? Miss Akama,
No,
Akama woman,
I'm in Australia right now. Actually, just wanted
Australia
to
right
add a
now. She's a faculty over there, AIMS graduate, postgraduate. So I think she can take some input from her too. What is happening over there?
yeah, actually, this
Related
was a
to
very
virtual
good session.
simulation.
And I'm really glad that I got this opportunity to attend the session and listen to all the experts. Um, with my experience working in India and in other countries, and with my experience as a student of a simulation, having used the simulation as a student and as a faculty member, I totally agree with what you have all discussed. And what I felt was, as a student, it is actually very helpful for you before you go to the clinical, especially to develop your clinical reasoning skills. When you actually work in the lab setting, you are actually safe. You can make as much mistakes as you want. And each time you get a very tailored and individualized feedback, which will help you to improve yourself in the next time you are going to practice it. So that's going to really help the student. And the main thing I felt as a student, when you go directly to the clinicals, you really feel scared, especially in the beginning, like first year basically. But if you really have this experience on working with a simulation and you have made mistakes, you have learned from your mistakes, you become more confident when you actually deal with the clients. That is one thing. Then one thing I would like to add regarding the online learning platforms is, like, in India, we were not using it so frequently and we have just started using it. And maybe I don't know whether I can say that this COVID situation, even though it's really bad for the world, in the education, it has opened up new frontiers for us to expand and try out new things. And we are now inventing new methods in which we are able to get to the students. So one most important aspect which I felt with online teaching is creating an engagement with the students is not as easy as you have a face-to-face classroom. So you may be able to break out into breakout rooms in Zoom, or I'm not very much familiar with Cisco because I'm using it for the first time, but I know very well that we can use it on Microsoft Teams and Zoom platforms, or even other learning management systems. You can actually give group activities to the students and ask them to come back and come to the main chat room. They can write on the blackboard. They can share their thoughts, discuss. They can have debates. So many things. So it's actually even with the simple Zoom, by making use of it in a better way, we will be able to achieve our objectives. And with regard to the simulations, I would also like to say that it is very important that we as educators, we have to tailor it to meet the learning outcomes of that particular subject so that it becomes useful for the student. But anyway, it was lovely to listen to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Akama, for joining us. And thank you, Dr. Smriti, Dr. Manju, and Mr. Abhinav for your valuable time and your expertise shared with us. Looking forward for such sessions in future also. Thank you for sparing time. Thank you to all
Thank you.
participants.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.